What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 2. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the brand new TR-76 Geist. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and we deal a lot of damage with this gun. As you can see here, we just have two body multipliers. We have our base damage, which applies to most of the body, and then we have a bonus upper torso damage multiplier. And up close and personal, this is always going to be a 3-shot kill, whereas in the second damage range, as long as you're landing one shot to the upper torso combined with body shots, you'll still maintain a 3-shot kill. And then when it comes to headshots, we do have a 2-shot kill potential to the head up close and personal if both shots hit the head. As for our rate of fire, this is a little bit on the slow side for an assault rifle at 638 rounds per minute, and what this means is our 3-shot time to kill potential is great at 188 milliseconds. This is especially great because you're literally guaranteed that 3-shot kill in that maximum damage range, which makes this highly competitive even against SMGs. Additionally, if we manage to get that 2-shot kill to the head, we're killing in just 94 milliseconds, which is nearly instant. Next, let's have a look at our bullet velocity, which appears to be standard for assault rifles at 590 meters per second. And then let's get into our range values. And as we can see, our maximum damage range extends out to about 24 meters, which is respectable. Again, within that range, you're guaranteed a 3-shot kill anywhere in the body. Whereas our 3-shot kill potential, as long as we're mixing in that one upper torso shot, this will extend out to about 36 meters, which is very solid as well. Anything beyond that, it's going to take you 4 shots to kill. As for our hipfire, no surprises here, it's standard for an assault rifle, and then let's get into our recoil, and this is one of the downsides with this gun, at least a minor downside. I wouldn't say this is a horribly inaccurate gun, but you'll see here, looking at the first 3 shots fired, it does tend to jump around, especially on these first 3 shots, and those are obviously some of the most important shots that you fire when you're engaging a target. And I have noticed, especially if you're starting to stretch your range out a little bit, this can absolutely throw you off. But beyond those 3 shots, it's actually quite an accurate and easy to control gun. It just kicks upward with a slight lean to the left. Now, let's move on to our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is a little bit on the slow side for an assault rifle at 280 milliseconds. However, our sprint to fire time is very good for an assault rifle at roughly 175 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time. Keep in mind that is hand tested, so there is some room for rounding there, but it is noticeably better than the other assault rifles. As for our reload add time, unfortunately, this is a bit on the slower side for an assault rifle at 1.72 seconds. And then finally, for our base stats, let's get into the mobility of this gun. When it comes to our base movement speed, we're a bit below average at 4.65 meters per second. Our sprint speed is actually pretty decent at 6.15 meters per second. And our aim down sight stray speed is, again, a little bit below average, just like our base movement speed. And there we go, that's going to wrap it up for the base stats of the Geist. Now let's move on to some unique attachments, and we're going to start this off with barrels and how they impact our ranges. As you can see here, the Lock 5 long barrel will increase our ranges by 20%, that's a nice boost. The Lock 2 short barrel reduces our ranges by only about 8%, and the Bruin Bridle Heavy gives us the best boost possible here at 28%. Then taking a look at how they impact our recoil, the Bruin Bridle 60 gives us the best possible recoil out of all of these, whereas for all of the others, there isn't really a significant change to the total recoil magnitude, although some of them definitely help with that recoil stability a bit and that side-to-side bounce, like the Bruin Bridle Heavy, for instance. But then finally for the barrel attachments, let's have a look at how they impact our aim down sight speed, and unfortunately, most of these will be adding quite a bit to your aim down sight time. With the one exception being the Lock 2 short barrel, this one only very slightly improves our aim down sight speed. But especially with that Bruin Bridle Heavy and the Freight 40 barrel, that is a very slow aim down sight time, which makes these barrels not super viable for regular multiplayer. Perhaps for something like Ground War or Warzone, those would be great, but I'd probably steer clear of these for 6v6. Now, going off of that, let's have a look at our magazine attachments and how they impact our aim down sight speed. And the first one we have access to is the Geist Single Tap mod, which we're going to look at in much greater detail in just a little bit here. But this one noticeably improves our aim down sight speed. It's now about 250 milliseconds. Whereas with the 45 round mag, this will increase our aim down sight time up to 310 milliseconds. And let's circle back to that Geist Single Tap mod because this significantly changes the performance of this gun. First off, it turns it into semi-auto and caps our rate of fire at 414 rounds per minute. However, it also very noticeably increases our damage to the point where it's now generally going to be a 2 to 3 shot kill depending on where in the body you're shooting them and the range. But with a 2-shot kill potential, our time to kill is incredibly fast at 145 milliseconds. But it's also fairly punishing if you don't get that 2-shot kill because our 3-shot time to kill potential is now 290 milliseconds. As for our handling, like I said, our aim down sight speed is 250 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also improved. That standard sprint out time is roughly 130 milliseconds. Obviously, with it being semi-auto, our recoil is significantly better than the base recoil. You can see there is very little recoil when using this single tap mod. And then overall, our movement speeds are improved across the board while using this, as well as our reload add time. Now finally, with the single tap mod, I just wanted to point out that our range drop-off points are exactly the same as the base version of the gun. It's obviously just taking a different number of shots to kill within each of these ranges. So in all, the single tap mod is an excellent choice on the TR-76 Geist. Obviously, it totally changes how the gun performs though, and it's not for everyone, but if you like semi-autos, I definitely recommend giving this a go. And with that, let's transition into some excellent attachment combinations I've got, and we'll start this off with a great single tap setup. With this, we're obviously using the single tap mod. We've got the phase 3 grip because aiming stability is very important with the single tap. We've got the quickfire laser, the slimline pro optic, and the Cronin resistor grip. This build gives us a very solid aim down sight time at 255 milliseconds, great sprint out time as well, so handling and mobility is going to be excellent here. And as you can see with our recoil, this thing is pinpoint accurate. Even at really long ranges, you should be able to pick people off no problem. And it's just a great all-around semi-auto gun to be using. But after that, let's get into some more standard builds with this using the full auto version of the gun. And the first one of these I wanted to share is my balanced aggression build. So with this, we have the second tread 40 muzzle just to help with recoil a little bit at least. We've got the VLK laser 7mW since we're going to be aggressive. We want really fast and snappy aim down sight and sprint out time, while also maintaining solid aiming stability. We've got the demo tack pad tuned for aim down sight speed, the FSS hardtop comb tuned for recoil stabilization, and the tactical grip tape tuned for recoil steadiness. And with all of this combined, we get a decent enough aim down sight speed at 280 milliseconds. Obviously, this isn't as fast as like an SMG or anything, but it's still at least reasonable for a somewhat aggressive build. Our sprint out speed is insanely fast at just 100 milliseconds. And it turns out our recoil isn't too bad with this setup. It's slightly improved over the base recoil, although I still don't consider this to be a super accurate gun, and for the really long range engagements, I would be hesitant to challenge those gunfights unless the person wasn't paying attention. You can still make it work. You're just not really going to be excelling in those long range engagements. So that one's just a great all-around versatile build. Now let's get into what I call my balanced accuracy build, where we are building this more for the longer range engagements, while still maintaining a little bit of versatility for close quarter situations. Now with this one, we once again have the second tread 40 muzzle, we have the Bruin Bridle 60 barrel, that's the one that helps quite a bit with recoil, and we don't sacrifice an unreasonable amount of our aim down sight speed with that as well. However, in order to bring that back in check, we've got the quickfire laser, the demo tack pad, as well as once again the tactical grip tape. And with this build, our aim down sight speed is 315 milliseconds, which is okay for a build that's designed more for mid to long range engagements. Our sprint out time is still incredible for an assault rifle at 130 milliseconds. And most importantly here, our new recoil is much more manageable and controllable than the previous build that I shared for you guys. This thing's actually quite accurate for longer range engagements. You can really pick people off, no problem there. So for those that want a little more accuracy and are willing to sacrifice some of that aggression, this is an excellent build to be using. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the TR-76 Geist. As for my thoughts on this gun, it's really, really good, super solid, extremely consistent, and I actually think this is probably going to catch a nerf sometime in the not too distant future, likely with the reloaded updates, especially after the Cast-Off 7.62 nerfs that we've been getting. This gun is just head and shoulders above the other 3-shot kill assault rifles in the game. It's got an insane time to kill, ridiculous sprint out time for an assault rifle, and pretty manageable stats for all of the other areas. So enjoy it while it lasts. We'll see how long it lasts before it catches a nerf, but I do suspect one is in the works. And with that, this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What are your thoughts on the TR-76 Geist? Do you agree with me? Do you think it is a little bit on the powerful side and is likely going to end up catching a nerf? Or do you think it's just fine as is, or maybe even a little too weak? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.